Right now, a dangerous wall of thunderstorms is building across northern Australia, and if you live anywhere from Darwin to Brisbane, what happens in the next few hours could ruin your Saturday night. But here is the twist. While the north is bracing for chaos, parts of southern Australia are about to experience one of the most perfect summer evenings in years. So which side of the line are you on? Drop your city in the comments right now and I will tell you exactly what is heading your way tonight. Before we go any further, here is your first reward for sticking around. I am about to give you the exact temperatures, storm timing, and hour-by-hour breakdown for every single major city in Australia tonight, Saturday the 7th of February 2026, and stay with me until the 5-minute mark because that is where I reveal which city is about to get hit with the most extreme weather swing in the country, a temperature drop so dramatic it will feel like someone flipped the season overnight. Now let me hit you with a number that puts tonight into perspective. Australia covers roughly the same landmass as all of Europe combined. That means right now, at this very moment, one end of the country is sitting at 11 degrees while the other end is sweating through 33. That is a 22-degree difference happening on the same night in the same country. No other continent on Earth produces that kind of spread on a single summer evening. Let us start where the action is most intense tonight, Darwin. If you are in the top end right now, listen carefully because this matters. Temperatures today hit 33 degrees, but here is the shocking part. Tonight, the mercury is not going to drop below 25. You heard that right. At midnight, it will still be 25 to 27 degrees with humidity sitting between 80 and 95%. That is not weather, that is a steam room. But temperature is not even the real story in Darwin tonight. The real story is what is building in the sky right now. Massive thunderstorms are expected to fire up this evening, and when Darwin storms hit during peak wet season, they do not mess around. We are talking constant lightning, rain so heavy it drops 50 to 100 millimeters in just a couple of hours, savage wind gusts, and occasionally hail. These storms typically start building from late afternoon, reach full intensity between 7 and 10 at night, and can continue rolling through in waves until the early hours of the morning. If you are in Darwin, do not drive through floodwater tonight. Flash flooding happens terrifyingly fast up here. Stay away from tall trees and open areas during lightning. And absolutely do not go swimming. February is peak box jellyfish season in Darwin waters, so an evening ocean dip, no matter how tempting, is genuinely dangerous. Now here is something most people do not realise. While Darwin is getting hammered tonight, a city just a few hours south by air is experiencing the exact opposite. But I will get to that incredible contrast in a moment. First, let me tell you what is happening on the East Coast because Brisbane, you need to pay attention. Brisbane. The so-called Sunshine State capital is deep in the subtropical wet season right now, and tonight is a classic example of why February in Brisbane keeps everyone on edge. Today, temperatures push between 28 and 31 degrees, and tonight will only cool to around 22. That sounds manageable until you factor in the humidity, which makes everything feel 5 degrees hotter than the thermometer reads. Here is a number that should make you grab an umbrella. Brisbane averages over 20 rainy days in February alone, with total rainfall hitting 172 millimetres. That is roughly double what Sydney gets in the same period. Tonight, thunderstorms are expected to build from late afternoon, peak between 5 and 8 in the evening, and potentially fire again after dark. These storms roll in fast, dump everything they have in 20 to 30 minutes, and then vanish. But in that window, you will get absolutely drenched if you are not prepared. Before you head to South Bank or anywhere along the river tonight, check the Bureau of Meteorology radar. Keep a rain jacket within arm's reach. Do not miss the next section because I'm about to tell you about a city where the storm risk is even higher than Brisbane. Cairns. Sitting at the gateway to the Great Barrier Reef, Cairns is in the same tropical belt as Darwin, and tonight it is almost as intense. Temperatures will hover between 26 and 28 degrees all evening with suffocating humidity. You will be sweating just sitting on the veranda doing absolutely nothing. Cairns averages roughly 13 rainy days in February with total rainfall that can exceed 300 millimetres. That makes it one of the wettest spots in the entire country right now. Tonight, expect on and off showers throughout the evening with the heaviest bursts hitting between 6 and 9 at night. Ocean temperatures are sitting at a bath like 29 to 30 degrees, but same as Darwin, this is stinger season. Do not swim in the ocean at night around Cairns. Now, the Gold Coast. If you are on the Goldie tonight, your weather sits somewhere between Brisbane's intensity and something more manageable. Temperatures will range from 22 to 27 degrees with humid air and a gentle sea breeze carrying that salty ocean smell across Surfers Paradise and Broadbeach. There is a chance of brief evening showers, but Gold Coast storms tend to be shorter and less intense than what Brisbane or Darwin cops. Still, keep an umbrella handy just in case. Storms can start popping up from late afternoon and usually clear through by around 9 or 10 at night. All right, now we cross the country to the west coast, and this is where the weather story completely flips. Do not skip this part because the contrast is absolutely wild. Perth. While Darwin is drowning in rain and Brisbane is dodging thunderstorms, Perth is sitting under a sky so clear you could see forever. Today was scorching, with temperatures regularly punching above 30 degrees in February, sometimes screaming past 35 or even 40 when hot easterlies blow in from the desert. But tonight the temperature drops sharply to around 18 to 22 degrees and there is practically zero chance of rain. Here is a stat that shows just how different Perth's world is right now. Average rainfall for the entire month of February in Perth is only 8 to 15 millimetres. Brisbane gets that in a single storm. The famous Fremantle Doctor, that reliable sea breeze off the Indian Ocean, has been cooling things down since late afternoon, and tonight it will leave the air calm, comfortable and absolutely perfect. If you are anywhere near Cottesloe Beach tonight, the sunset over the Indian Ocean would have been spectacular. Perth gets the best summer evenings in the country and tonight is no exception. Adelaide. Similar story to Perth but with its own twist. February days in Adelaide can rocket past 40 degrees during heat waves, but here is the magic. Tonight temperatures will plummet from a late afternoon peak of 28 to 30 degrees all the way down to 17 to 20 degrees by 9 or 10 o'clock. That is a massive swing, and it happens because Adelaide sits close to the arid interior where dry air cannot trap the heat once the sun disappears. Rainfall tonight in Adelaide is essentially zero. The sky will be beautifully clear, and if you are anywhere near the Barossa Valley or McLaren Vale tonight, this is absolutely perfect weather for sitting outdoors with a glass of Shiraz under the stars. Just grab a jacket on your way out because 17 degrees with dry air and a breeze can feel surprisingly nippy. Now here is the 5-minute promise I made at the start, and it is about a city that most people completely underestimate when it comes to extreme weather swings. Canberra. The nation's capital experiences one of the most dramatic day-to-night temperature drops of any major city in Australia. Today, Canberra hit around 28 to 32 degrees. But tonight, and this is the jaw-dropping part, temperatures will plummet to just 13 to 17 degrees. That is a swing of up to 15 degrees in a matter of hours. Sitting inland at 580 metres above sea level, surrounded by hills and eucalyptus bushland, Canberra creates temperature inversions on calm nights where cold air sinks into the valleys and drives temperatures even lower. If you are in the outer suburbs tonight, it could be noticeably colder than the city centre. Light cloud cover with a small chance of a shower, but the real story is how fast it cools. You need a proper jacket tonight, not just a light layer. Melbourne. The city famous for 4 seasons in one day is actually behaving itself tonight, and that alone should be headline news. Today hit 26 degrees, which is right in the sweet spot for February. Tonight temperatures will ease to around 19 degrees with a moderate southerly breeze at about 19 kilometres per hour. Here is why tonight matters for Melbourne. Atmospheric pressure is sitting at around 1,009 hectopascals, which means a high pressure system is firmly in control. High pressure means settled weather, minimal cloud, and practically zero chance of rain. Melbourne, which has a well-earned reputation for throwing a random downpour when you least expect it, is giving everyone a night off from its usual tricks. If you are tossing up between staying in and heading out, do not waste this evening. A stroll along the Yarra, dinner on Lygon Street or catching live music outdoors, tonight is one of the best summer evenings Melbourne can offer. Sydney. Here is where it gets interesting because Sydney is running hotter than normal tonight and most people have not noticed. Today as top temperature hit 28 degrees, which is a full 4 degrees above the historical average for the 7th of February. That is a significant bump and it signals a mild heatwave influence pushing into the east coast. Tonight temperatures will ease to around 22 to 23 degrees with partly cloudy skies. No rain at all, practically zero chance. Winds are gusting to about 22 kilometres per hour from the south and southwest, pushing humidity up to around 79%. That means even though the thermometer reads 22, it will feel warmer than that because of all the moisture in the air. Sunset was at 7:56 tonight, so from about 8 o'clock onwards, Sydney is in full summer evening mode. Brilliant conditions for the harbour, the beaches, or just sitting on your balcony with a cold drink. Hobart, now we go to the coolest city on the list tonight, and if you are in Tasmania, this is your critical information. Hobart's February daytime temperatures only reach about 21 to 24 degrees, already 5 to 10 degrees cooler than the mainland, but tonight it drops further to just 11 to 14 degrees. That is genuinely chilly for the middle of an Australian summer. You need a proper jumper or jacket tonight in Hobart, no question. Westerly to southwesterly winds are carrying cool air off the Tasman Sea, and occasionally the influence of weather systems tracking up from the Southern Ocean makes itself felt. If you have any plans to head up Mount Wellington tonight, be warned. Temperatures at the summit, which rises to 1,271 metres, could be 7 to 10 degrees cooler than sea level. That means it could be as low as 3 to 5 degrees up top. Dress properly or do not go. And finally, the place that might just steal the show tonight, Alice Springs. Right in the dead centre of Australia, surrounded by vast red desert, Alice Springs has the most extreme climate of any major town in the country. February days are brutally hot, averaging 35 degrees and capable of blasting past 40. But here is the desert magic. Once the sun drops below the horizon, temperatures fall away remarkably fast. By evening, it will be down to 22 to 25 degrees, and it keeps falling through the night. The day-to-night temperature swing can be a staggering 15 to 20 degrees. What makes Alice Springs completely different from everywhere else tonight is the humidity, or rather the total lack of it. While Darwin is sitting at 95% humidity, Alice Springs is at just 20 to 30%. That dry air means the heat radiates away rapidly after sunset, creating surprisingly cool evenings. But the real reason Alice Springs wins tonight is the sky. Because it is so far from any major city with virtually no light pollution, tonight you will see the Milky Way blazing in an unbroken arc from horizon to horizon, millions upon millions of stars, the kind of sky that people in the big cities almost never get to see. If you are out in Alice Springs tonight, step outside and look up. It is absolutely breathtaking. So there you have it, the full picture across Australia tonight. Darwin and Cairns battling tropical fury with severe thunderstorms, Brisbane and the Gold Coast watching the sky nervously, Perth and Adelaide basking under crystal clear Mediterranean skies, Melbourne enjoying a rare perfect evening, Sydney running hotter than usual, Canberra experiencing that dramatic 15-degree temperature crash, Hobart rugging up against the chill, and Alice Springs gazing up at the most spectacular night sky on the continent. One important reminder before you go, Australia spans 3 main time zones, and the difference between Perth and Sydney is 3 hours. So when Sydney is deep into the evening at 9, Perth still has the sun up at 6. Keep that in mind for your plans tonight. Now drop your city in the comments below and tell me what the weather is actually doing where you are right now. I read every single comment, and if enough of you respond, I will do a follow-up video tomorrow covering the updated forecast for Sunday, including a developing weather system in the south that could change everything for next week. You do not want to miss that one. Make sure you are following so you catch it the